Hello and welcome back to Aayu Pathshala. And this is the fourth video on the Indian polity. And up till now, we have sufficiently discussed the background on which the constitution was framed and the entire composition of the Constitution Assembly. There are various committees in that. And we have also studied the members of the drafting committee. And on the whole, we have got the overview of the constitution, wherein in the last video we have talked about the salient features of the Indian constitution, as well as the criticism that was done by the various members of the Constitution Assembly, and whether the criticism was valid and what was the reply given by the chairman, the very chairman of the drafting committee of the Constitution, that is the Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. So today we start with the very first page of the Indian Constitution, which is called the Preamble. And today we begin this chapter, which is not just a topic in your syllabus, but a doorway into the very soul of our nation. Before we enter into the deep world of the constitutional rights, duties, and various other provisions, we must pause and ask a simple question. What kind of nation did the makers of the constitution dream of? The answer to that lies in what we are going to discuss today in a single beautifully written paragraph called the preamble. The preamble is regarded as the introduction to the constitution, but in reality, it is much more than an introduction. It is the spirit of the constitution, the vision of India, and the promises we made to the people of India. It is the constitution, is the pillar of the democracy or the body of a democracy. Then the preamble can be considered as the heartbeat or the soul of the democracy. So, when we go through the preamble, we will get to know much more of it. But in words of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, who said that preamble is the political horoscope of India, if we understand it, we understand the destiny our constitution set before us. So today, as we begin this topic, I invite you to read the preamble not just as a student, but as a citizen of this country, and ask yourself, what does justice mean for you, for us? What does liberty allow us to become? What does equality give us? What does fraternity hold this vast nation together, and how does it do so? Because the preamble is not locked in the paper of the constitution. It invites it invites the people and encourages and empowers them. It lives the in the choices we make, the values we uphold, and the nation we continue to build every single day. So let us first give the very first reading of the preamble, and let us just understand what does it say, and then definitely we will dwell into every single words written in it in detail. So what you see on the left is the preamble of the Indian Constitution, and the starting word "we," the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. So this is the preamble of the Constitution, and we before we go into deeper into each words and what does it mean in Indian context. On the very first, let us first understand that the Constitution was drafted by the Constituent Assembly, that is the drafting committee to specifically, and we have seen that the on the day of adoption, that is 26th November 1949, there were 395 articles which were grouped under different parts. Okay, and in these 395 articles, the preamble was not included. The preamble was not the part of all these 395 articles. So the first question arises, whether the preamble is the part of the constitution. We have understood that this is an introduction to the constitution. That is okay. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar says that it is a political horoscope of the constitution, and other members also said so much good about the preamble. But was it adopted? Was it drafted by the Constituent Assembly on the first hand? No, it was not drafted by the Constituent Assembly, not drafted by the members of the drafting committee, but it is included in the constitution. Yes, it is included in the constitution as an introduction, as a preface, as an introduction to the constitution. We can say it is the summary of the overall aspiration of the makers of the constitution. So we know that the 30th December 1946, 4 days after the first meeting, that is in the first session, 9th December was the first meeting date. On the 30th December 1946, objective resolution was proposed by JL Jawaharlal Nehru, and this was accepted, yeah, approved by the Constituent Assembly on 22nd January 1947. And this objective resolution is what we call today as a preamble. This was included as the preamble of the Indian Constitution. So on the very first, this objective resolution was not drafted by the drafting committee. It was proposed by Jawaharlal Nehru and then accepted by the Constituent Assembly and included as a preamble. So whether this article, all the 395 articles, is the part of the Constitution, there is no doubt in it. But there was a question whether this preamble that we glorify so much is whether it is the part of the Constitution, and why this question is very important, that whether this is a part of the Indian Constitution or not. The question is very important because Article 368 says two things. Article 368 says two things. First, it gives Parliament the power to amend the Constitution, to change the Constitution, to modify it, okay, amend the Constitution. And second, it defines the different procedure, how the different part of the Constitution would be amended. Okay, so if preamble is the part of the constitution, so whether article 368 will be applicable on it, that means whether it can be modified, it can be amended. The thing that we glorified so much, that it is what the nature defines, what the nature of the country could should be. It defines what were the aspirations of the makers of the constitution. It is a horoscope that decides the future of the country and all that thing. So whether it could be modified, so if that is the case, and if we can modify it under Article 368, that means it is the part of the Constitution. So this question was to be decided, and we have three important cases in this regard. In the very first case, that is the Berubari Union case, 1960, the Supreme Court said that the preamble shows the general purpose behind the several provisions in the Constitution, and thus is a key to the minds of the makers of the Constitution. Further, the term used in any articles are ambiguous or capable of more than one meaning. Some assistance and interpretation may be taken from the objectives enshrined in the preamble. Despite this recognition of the significance of the preamble, the Supreme Court specifically opined that the preamble is not the part of the Constitution. In Berubari Union case, what the Supreme Court said the Berubari Union case, Supreme Court said that yes, preamble is very important, and whenever any provision in the Constitution is ambiguous, you can derive two meaning out of that single article or single provision in the Constitution. So, say suppose Article X Y Z, it could be interpreted in two ways, like way one and way two. But and you want to know which way is the better, you should refer to the preamble and see which of the two-way align with the objectives of the preamble. That way would be correct. So preamble is very important to interpret those things. But it specifically opined that preamble is not a part of the constitution. So it could not be amended under Article 368. But later, in 1973, the one of the landmark case, that is the Kesavananda Bharati case, and don't worry about it, we will deal this case separately. And also the Berubari Union case will also come in the later part of this course. But till now, at this point, let us understand that whether we are talking about the preamble is a part of the constitution or not. So, Berubari Union case rejected that preamble is the part of the constitution. It said it is not the part of the constitution. First thing. Then in Kesavananda Bharati case, 1973, the Supreme Court also rejected the earlier opinion and held that preamble is a part of the constitution. So remember, in Kesavananda Bharati case, preamble is part of the constitution, so it can be amended. It observed that the preamble is of extreme importance and the constitution should be read and interpreted in the light of the grand and noble vision expressed in the preamble, and the same opinion that was held in the Kesavananda Bharati case in LIC of India case also in the coming years 1995. Supreme Court again held that this preamble is an integral part of the constitution. Okay, yes, the preamble is an important part of the constitution, integral part of the constitution, and hence Article 368 is also valid on the preamble. So, in the Beriberi Union case, the Supreme Court held that it is not the part of the constitution, but in the next two cases, in the coming years, in 1973 and 1995, that is Keshwananda Bharati case and LIC of India case, it was held that preamble is the part of the Indian constitution. So, automatically, Article 368 is applicable on the preamble, and hence preamble was amended. It is amended only once, and it was amended in the year 1976. Remember, first time in 1973, Supreme Court held that yes, preamble is the part of the Constitution. 3 years later, it was amended under Article 368, and it was the 42nd Amendment. It was the 42nd Amendment, and three important words were added to it: socialist, secular, and integrity. Integrity. So in the constitution, where we say socialist, in the preamble, when we say the socialist, the secular, and the term integrity, these were not present in the objective resolution or in the preamble of the Indian constitution up till 1976. In 1976, through 42nd Amendment under Article 368 of the Indian Constitution, the preamble was amended, and this is the first and the last amendment of the preamble, not the constitution, of the preamble, and three words were added. Which were words? Socialist, secular, and integrity. So whether this means that the India was not secular before that, like before 1976, if these words were specifically mentioned in the preamble, before that, whether India was not secular, or before it was not socialist, or whether integrity was not important to India, no, that was not the case. The thing was that कि preamble लिखने वाले जवाहरलाल नेहरू, उनसे गलती हो सकती है इंसान से भी मिस्टेक होती है कि वो कुछ चीजें भूल जाते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप आर्टिकल 25 से 28 देखेंगे, इट सेल्फ रिप्रेजेंट the part third of the constitution, that is the fundamental right, itself gives the liberty to practice, profess, and propagate your own religion, that is the represent the secular nature of the country. So it was forgotten and it was not included in the preamble. But later on, the people of the parliament, they thought that yes, if by default, India is a secular country, as is mentioned under the different provisions of the Indian Constitution and the fundamental rights of the part third of the Indian Constitution, that is Article 25 to 28. So it should be included in the preamble, because what is the preamble? It is the reflections of the entire Constitution. So the constitution is secular, so it should be reflected in the introduction. So a word secular was added, and so the other words socialist and integrity was also added in the preamble. So this is what I was to explain on the part of the preamble and its amendment. So three important words which was added on the 42nd Amendment 1976, that is socialist, secular, and integrity, which was not present originally in the preamble. Okay, now let us move forward. And before that, what is the final status of the Indian preamble? This is the final status of the Indian preamble. That is, the preamble is neither a source of power to the legislature nor a prohibition upon the powers of the legislature. Source of power to the legislature and not a prohibition upon the powers of the legislature. If we go to the when we will go to part third of the Indian Constitution, where we talk about the fundamental right, we will see that the articles prohibit that the state shall not discriminate among its citizens on the ground of race, caste, religion, color, sex, or place of origin. So it's prohibit the legislature. We have seen what is the legislature. Prohibits the legislature that it should not discriminate on such this ground. But preamble is not that, not any prohibition, does not prohibit the legislature. Neither it is a source of power. If we go to the DPSP, it said that the state shall provide this. In the part third, the fundamental right says the state shall do this. The state, it should be the duty of the state to do that. So this is the power of the legislature, that it powers the legislature to make laws, because the article itself says that you have to do that. But the preamble is neither a source of power to the legislature nor a prohibition upon the power of the legislature. It is a neutral thing, okay? And it is not justiciable. That means you cannot go to the court and say that, my lord, this is what written in the preamble and I'm not getting that. So that is that its provisions are not enforceable in the courts of law. So why it is not enforceable in the courts of law? That means some provision in the constitution are enforceable in the court of law, but preamble is not. So what were those? What are those provisions which are enforceable in the court of law? That we will see are the fundamental rights as we move along with this course. So as of now, just understand 2 points. Number one, it is neither the source of power nor the prohibition on the power of the legislature. That is the preamble we are talking about, and also it is not justiciable. That means you cannot go to the court and you can demand it as your right, that this is my right, you have to give me. So the preamble is not justiciable. Okay. Now let us move forward and say what did Supreme Court said in 1974. It said that although the word secular state were not expressly mentioned in the Constitution, there can be no doubt that Constitution makers wanted to establish such a state, and accordingly, Article 25 to 28, guaranteeing the fundamental right to freedom of religion, have been included in the Constitution. This is what I explained you earlier, that the Constitution was by default have mentioned the secularism, but since the reflection was not made in the preamble, so the word was included. So now let us start our preamble and let us see what are the different terms used in it. So the preamble is basically starting with the term, with the word, we, the people of India. We, the people of India. That means who? We, the people of India. Why it is mentioned that we, the people of India? Remember the cabinet mission. It was the cabinet mission who told you you wanted, whether you wanted the constitution of your own or not. Yes, we wanted the constitution for our country, but whether you was empowered to do so, the demand for the Constituent Assembly to make the Constitution of India was long back made by the Swaraj Party way before in 1934. But whether you were authorized to do so, no. Whether you were empowered to do so, no. But the cabinet mission, when came, and then the cabinet mission 1946 told you that yes, you will make a constitution of your own, and for that you have to make a constituent assembly. So who allowed you? Who gave you the power? It was the British government. So the sovereignty is affected or not? Yes, sovereignty was affected. We did not of our own choice. We wanted it, but we were not empowered to make the constitution. So it was the British Crown who gave us the power. But then came the 1947 and the Government of India Act of 1947, where the East India Company or the British Crown, so it's not East India Company, East India Company was abolished in 1847, and the power transfer were transferred to the British Crown. So in 1947, the Government of India Act said that no laws of the British Parliament act will hold valid or in passed after that date, and also India, the people of the India or the Constituent Assembly is authorized to nullify any law that they want that were passed by the British India. So 1947 made the Constituent Assembly sovereign. So it was explicitly mentioned in the preamble that we, the people of India, it is not the cabinet mission who made this constitution. Who made it? Who has the power? We, the people of India, has the power, and we, the people of India, what is written below, have decided to make India into such and such type of country. It is we are not under the pressure of any foreign power. We are not under the pressure of any other. We are not a dominion, but we are free, and we, the people of India, out of our own will, have decided, have taken a resolution, have made promise to ourselves to constitute India into such type of country. Is it clear? So we, the people of India, this is the source of power. This is the source of power. Okay. We, the people of India, what we are doing, we are having solemnly resolved, we are determined, we are resolved to constitute India into. This is what we are resolved to constitute India into. So this is the characteristic of India, our country, that we, the people of India, are determined. We are making a promise to ourselves. We are resolute. We are solemnly resolving means एक मकसद के तहत, एक इरादे के तहत, एक determination के साथ, है ना? क्या करने का? To constitute India into this. So this sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, this is what the nature of India. It's the nature of India. How is India? How would be the country? What was the nature of the India country that we, the people of India, want to make it? We, the people of India, want to make a country whose name is India into. It would be a sovereign country, it would be a socialist country, it would be a secular, it would be a democratic, and it would be a republic. There are five characteristics of the country mentioned. And what is the objective? To secure to all its citizens. Our objective is to secure to all its citizens. What do you want to secure for all its citizens? Number one, justice. This is what is the objective of our. This is objective. So the preamble states up till now we have understood it has three things. First, the source of power. Second, the nature of the India, and third is what objective. What are the objective we want to achieve? We want to secure to all its citizens. What? Number one, justice. Number two, liberty. Justice, what type of justice? Social, economic, and political. What liberty you want of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Whatever we want to think of any government, we will think of. Whatever we want to think for anyone else. Mainly, we want to think of this particular party as this, as that. We will think, we would express, we will write newspaper. Why expression has been mentioned? Because we have seen already Indian Vernacular Press Act was passed by the British government, in which they regulated the Indian newspaper. So it thought that liberty of thought and expression, we are free to write anything against the government or for the government. We are free to have any belief. Then we will be free to have faith in anything we want. We want to have faith on any god or any religion, whatever, and worship. We are free to worship whatever we want to worship. So this is the liberty the preamble is talking about. Then we have the equality of status and opportunity, that is equal opportunity for all and equal status for all, and to promote among them all fraternity. और among the citizens के बीच में हम क्या चाहते हैं कि विवाद ना हो, लड़ाई झगड़ा ना हो, एक ब्रदरहुड हो, फ्रेटर्निटी हो, अश्योरिंग द डिग्निटी ऑफ द इंडिविजुअल। हर किसी का सम्मान किया जाए, हर किसी की सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट को रिस्पेक्ट किया जाए, है ना? डिग्निटी ऑफ द इंडिविजुअल एंड यूनिटी एंड इंटीग्रिटी ऑफ द नेशन। यूनिटी एंड इंटीग्रिटी ऑफ द नेशन, हम भारत के लोगों को, ये हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का एक ऑब्जेक्टिव है जो कि प्रियम्बल के अंदर बताया गया है कि प्रमोट करना है भारत को, ब्रदरहुड प्रमोट करना है कि हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई हम चारों हैं भाई भाई। दैट इज द थिंग दैट वी वांट टू अचीव, है ना? fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual. We have to respect every religion, every individual. We have to respect their custom, their caste, whatever they are following, whatever they are doing. We have to have respect for them. And the unity and integrity of the nation, you have to avoid those things which are hurdles in the unity and integrity of the nation. You have to ensure that the people do not split up, because the country is made up of people, and the people do not split up, they stay together as a whole, as a nation. So you have to ensure the unity and integrity of the nation. And that the last para says that in our constituent assembly, this is the fourth point of the preamble, says the date of adoption. It is what? The date of adoption or enactment, the date of enactment of the constitution. In our constituent assembly, this 26th day of November 1949 do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution. And this paragraph we have also seen earlier also. So now we have understood the preamble, like the overview of the preamble. The preamble describes the source of power. It describes the characteristics of the India, the nation, and it describes the objective, what it want to achieve. Now let us go and discuss each term mentioned in it. The first term is sovereign. So what do you mean by this sovereign? Sovereign means Sovereign, sovereign or sovereignty. What does this term mean? Sovereign means, see, we have already seen, if you go back before 1947, that India was not free. Whatever it did, whatever India did, it did with the permission of the British. Okay, so and British before 1947, it said that it will set India free, but it will make India a dominion. It will give India a dominion status. Dominion status means India will be a free country, but in some aspect, whether it would be a defense or external affair, it will have to obey the authority of the country under which it is acting as. For example, if it is a dominion of the British India, so it will have to accept the authority of British India. Sovereignty means you are free from any external authority. For example, you are like friend with country A, and the other moment you want to break the friendship, you will have no external pressure. You are free to make any decision for your country. It may be good, it may be bad, but that is also you have to decide whether it is good or bad. You act independently. You have an independent view, independent voice, independent choice. So you are free from any external pressure. That what is sovereignty is meant. Being sovereign means being free from any external pressure and to develop and to have an independent view and choice for anybody or for any nation in the world. So that is what sovereignty means. That is, India is now free from any external dominance or from the influence of any external power or authority. Okay. What does the term socialist mean? Socialist means, see, socialist, socialism, when we say about the socialism, socialism can be two type of socialism is there. One is the communist socialism, another is the one is the communist socialism, another is the democratic socialism. And we are referring to the democratic socialism. What does the democratic socialism mean? First, let us discuss what does the communist socialism mean. In the communist socialism, all the property is owned by the state. That is, there is no private property. What does this mean? No private property? No private property. No private property means there would be no class, no rich people, no poor people, everyone would be equal. No, if there is no private property, how will you define the richness? It's because you are having so much property, so much bank balance that defines how rich, how poor you are. So there would be no private property. All the property will be owned by the state. It strictly prohibit the occupancy of any private property. Okay. So there would be no private ownership of the land. Plus, there would be all the means of production that would be like controlled by the government. So what do you mean by this? See, means of production is all government control. That means you cannot set up any factory or any company. All the companies, all the means of production, all the industry will be set up by the government. What can you do? You can only work as an employee. Now you see, if you do not have any private property and if you do not own any means of production, but all the means of production is owned by the government, that means there is no class difference. That means all are workers only. Or everybody would be employee. Like I'll be employer on all these people will work for only one particular owner, and that would be the government. So all will be the employee. We all will be the employee. So there would be a classless society. There would be no class difference. Upper class, middle class, lower class. No class difference because all will be the employee only and all will work for the government. Why? Because the means of production will entirely controlled by the government. So there would be a classless society, and this is what the communist socialism means. But do India follow such type of practice? No. In India, government has also some ownership of the country. That such as we have seen the Indian Railway. Then there is the other atomic energy and all that we have seen, the control by the government. But other sectors are controlled by the private sectors. We have the telecommunication. We have more than 90% of the sectors are open for the private sector. So we have mixed economy in which the means of production is jointly owned by the government as well as the private parties. So, in democratic socialism, what we have the democracy plus social justice, plus social justice. That means the government only regulates, it does not control the means of production, it regulates the production. And production is controlled by the market force. What is in demand get produced. That is the different topic that we talk in the economy. But see, here we have the democracy plus we have the social justice. Social justice, we will talk about it. Social justice, just remember that if you are eligible to buy something, something is getting produced, you are eligible to buy, you are buying. But if you're not eligible to buy, the government is providing you subsidy and making the things in your affordability range. So that is we are following a democratic socialism. That is we are here in democratic socialism. We talk about democracy plus social justice, plus we talk about economic growth as well as welfare. We talk about the economic growth and welfare, and we follow mixed economy model. Mixed economy model. That is, the public sector and private sector both exist. So in a democratic socialism, we have democracy plus social justice and ensure economic growth and welfare, and we follow the mixed economy method or model. So the secularism, the socialism that the preamble is talking about, that is into sovereign we have understood. Socialist, democratic socialism we are talking about. Okay, not the communist part that was followed in the USSR. We are talking about the democratic socialism where the social justice will be ensured, where the means of production will be jointly owned by the government as well as the common people. Then we have the secularism. And secularism, as we have seen that the word socialist and secularism were added by the 42nd Amendment of 1976. So secularism also can be categorized into two parts. The one that was followed by the Western countries, which is called as the negative secularism, in which the government kept itself totally uh, away from the religion. That is, there is no mixing of the religion and the government. That is, government has nothing to do with the religion. But in India, we do not do that. In India, we follow the positive secularism where we equally promote and equally respect all the religion. The government of its own does not have any religion. Government का कोई धर्म नहीं और गवर्नमेंट के लिए सभी धर्म एक समान है. ठीक है? That is what is called as the positive secularism. So we do not follow the negative secularism, which is the concept of the West, where the state cannot interfere in the religion at all. That is, there is a complete separation from the religion. And why this is called the complete separation of the religion may sometimes appears that it is good. The state is not interfering. No. Why? Because it is not good. Because every religion should be protected, promoted. Okay. So, for example, suppose there are 10 people who are following one particular religion. Okay, and in a country, so for example, there in a country there are say 10 lakhs people, 99 lakhs people are following a particular religion, and 1 lakh people is following another religion. So obviously this 99 lakh people will be in majority, and they will try that this 1 lakh people should not profess their religion. They should not profess their religion, and they may use any hook or crook to convert all these people into their own religion. But in the Western secularism, they will not. The religion will not like the government will not interfere into the religion. The state cannot interfere in religion. So they do not give protection for from the religion influence. So what we say that, but in India, what we have that the government protects all the religion equally. So they protect the state from the religion influence, State is state is protected from the religious influence. Religion influence means the state is not influenced by any religion. For example, we have USA and France, that religious is only a private matter. For the state, it is only a private matter, and the state cannot give any aid to any religion. It does not mean that whether you, if you are poor, okay, you remain poor, the state will not give you any aid. If you are rich, you be rich. The divide is always either increasing or remain constant. It may not decrease without the aid of the state. So if you are poor, the state cannot give any aid to any religion. But in the positive secularism, that in the point from the point of India, the state can regulate religion from for social reform. And a very good example of this is, for example, we see that for particular, suppose for particular religion, in particular religion, there is a custom, एक प्रथा है कि बच्चों को सेक्रीफाइस करने का, मान लो फॉर एग्जांपल किसी एक रिलीजन के अंदर एक बच्चे को सेक्रीफाइस करने की प्रथा है। तो वेस्टर्न पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इस रिलीजन को आप इंटरफेयर नहीं कर सकते, वो प्रथा चलती जाएगी, लेकिन इंडिया में आप इसको अबॉलिश कर सकते हैं, ठीक है। तो इंडिया में हम रिलीजन को रेगुलेट करते हैं फॉर सोशल रिफॉर्म। हमने देखा सब सती प्रथा को अबॉलिश किया गया था, है ना। हमने देखा है कि ट्रिपल तलाक मैटर हैज बीन रेज्ड। वी हैव सीन द prohibition of the lower caste from entering the temple. We have also seen the cases where the women were allowed by the Supreme Court to enter the temple. So all those parts of the religious practice which is against the constitution or against or a barricade in the social reform, the state will regulate them. Okay, not from the Western point of view where the state is totally isolated from the religion. They are not going to regulate anything in the religion. That is not the case in India. So a state can regulate religion for social reform, and it will have equal respect to all religion. That is, we are talking not out only about the protection of the religion, but we are also focused on social justice. Social justice is also important. Everybody should be allowed to enter the temple. It is not only that the men can pray, women cannot pray. So those things which are against the social reforms can be regulated by the state, and people have to abide by it. For view of religion means it recognizes social role of religion, and state may give aid to all religious equally. ऑल रिलीजियस के लिए एड मिलेगा, ठीक है। अगर दुर्गा पूजा में गवर्नमेंट पंडाल लगाने के लिए एड देती है, तो बाकी किसी और रिलीजन में, फॉर एग्जांपल इन मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी, कोई एक पर्व होगा तो आपको वहां पर भी गवर्नमेंट एड देगी। इट कैन नॉट डिस्क्रिमिनेट। So it equally it will respect all the religion, it will give aid to all the religion, it will regulate all the religion on that ground, on a particular ground. So I hope you understand what is the positive and the negative secularism. And India, we are following the positive secularism, not the concept of the Western secularism, that is the negative secularism. Then we have the democratic republic. See, democracy means the government is chosen by the people. They rule by the people. What does this term democracy means? The term democratic is used in the preamble in the broader sense, embracing not only the political democracy but also the social, economic democracy as well. And this dimension was stressed by Dr. Ambedkar in his concluding speech in the Constituent Assembly at 25 1949, where he says that it does not only the democracy does not only include the political democracy, and the real democracy will be exercised only with the social democracy when the casteism is gone and social democracy is enforced. So, what does this term democracy means? Democracy is ruled by the people. Now, there could be two ways in the people can rule. Either they can govern directly, that is, they can govern. Democracy can be direct democracy or indirect democracy. So, people can directly exercise democracy, that is, directly. Second can be indirectly. What do you mean by direct democracy? Directly exercising your power. In India, what we do, we enjoy indirect democracy. We are not making the laws. Who are making the laws? The people who are sitting in the parliament. Who are they? Those are the people who we elect. And what people we elect? We people elect from our region, our locality. So we only elect those representatives, those who are aware of our problem, and then we make them sit in the parliament. So not we as the common man sits in the parliament, but The people elected by us who are going to present our problems on our behalf on the parliament. That is indirectly we collectively, like from a particular constituency, a group of people or the members of the constituency elect one representative. Representative means कि वो उनको represent कर रहा है उनके behalf पे, and the representative sits in the parliament and then gives his vote either against or for a particular law, and the law is being passed in the parliament. That type of democracy is called the indirect democracy. What do you mean by the direct democracy? And the people directly vote that whether this law should be passed, yes or no. Directly voted by whom? The people. So in direct democracy, we have four tools that could be used. Number one is called the referendum. What do you mean by referendum? And this type of democracy, that is the direct democracy, is enjoyed in some country. And the common example which I can quote over here is of Singapore. In Singapore, what we follow is the direct democracy. Indirect democracy is followed in India. Democracy, we have understood what is democracy. In a democracy, the people are free to choose their own government. The referendum is the first tool of direct democracy, and a referendum is the tool where government asks the people to directly vote on a particular law issue. The government makes a law, publishes it, and the people vote whether they likes this law or not, whether they think these laws are suitable for them or not, and accordingly the law will keep or it will be discarded. That is what is called as the referendum. To confirm or reject a law or a constitutional amendment that the legislature has passed. So there could be three types of referendum. Mandatory referendum, that is must be done for certain issues, example constitutional amendment. There could be optional referendum, done if people demand it, and there can be conciliative referendum, that is government uses it to know public opinion. So referendum can be of three types, that is mandatory, optional, and conciliative. For example, Brexit referendum, where the people voted that the UK should leave EU, and then accordingly a decision was taken for the UK to leave the Brexit. Also, Switzerland regularly uses referendum for laws. In the India construct, if we talk, we do not have such types of tool because we follow indirect democracy. That is, India does not have provision for referendum in normal governance because we follow representative democracy, not direct democracy. However, one example is the Goa opinion poll 1967 to decide whether Goa should merge with Maharashtra or not. So we have understood what is referendum. Referendum. The next tool of direct democracy is initiative. Initiative in a common English term, which means to initiate something, to introduce something, शुरुआत करना, पहल करना. So the initiative is the device where people themselves proposes of law or constitutional amendment. एक तो रेफरेंडम में ये हो गया, गवर्नमेंट ने आपके लिए एक कानून बनाया और फिर आपके सामने रखा कि आप कैसे लाइक करते हैं या नहीं. मे बी यू डू नॉट नीड इट बट यू थिंक दैट दिस लॉ इज ओके, शुड बी देयर, सो आप उसको वोट करते हैं. एक हो गया कि पब्लिक को ही लग रहा है कि भाई लॉ होना चाहिए कि व्हीकल को 120 के ऊपर नहीं चलाना, अदरवाइज देयर वुड बी अ फाइन. सो पीपल देमसेल्फ मेक्स अ लॉ और proposes a constitutional amendment by collecting a required number of signatures. इतने लोगों ने साइन कर दिया और वो लॉ बनाए. Allow citizens to directly participate in lawmaking instead of waiting for the legislature. So there is a direct initiative or indirect initiative. In direct initiative, we have a proposed law goes straight to the voters, and in direct initiative, में proposal goes to the legislature first. If rejected, it goes to the people. That means आप लॉ बना करके डायरेक्टली पीपल को दे दिया कि भाई इफ इतने नंबर ऑफ पीपल साइन करेंगे इट विल बिकम अ लॉ. दैट इज अ डायरेक्ट इनिशिएटिव. इन इनडायरेक्ट इनिशिएटिव में अ लॉ इज बीइंग मेड एंड इट इज गिवन टू द लेजिस्लेचर कि भाई आप ही मतलब वी द पीपल वांटेड दिस लॉ बट वी आर गिविंग इट टू यू, यू मेक दिस लॉ बाय द लेजिस्लेचर एंड देन अकॉर्डिंगली जैसे आप रेफरेंडम करते हो टू डू दैट. So that can be done. So that is indirect initiative. Then we have the recall. The third tool of direct democracy is recall. And recall means we in the beginning of the lecture we say that let us recall what we have done in the previous video. That means recalling means you are going back to the previous thing. So similarly, here also recall means the tool is a direct tool for a direct democracy where people can remove their elected representative before his her terms end. In India, we impeach the judges, we impeach the president, we remove the speaker, deputy speaker. We means the people of the parliament, that Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, they impeach, they pass the no confidence motion to remove the current government. But where in a country where direct democracy is exercised, a tool called recall is used, and the people, by using this tool, they can remove the elected representative by before like the term of 5 years. For example, today you elect a representative, his normal tenure is 5 years. After 5 years only, his term will expire. But tomorrow you can initiate a recall. That means you can use the tool recall to end his tenure. So to ensure accountability of the elected leaders before election. In India if we talk about the recall tool in Indian context, recall is not available for MPs and MLAs. 5 साल का उनका टर्म होता है, या उससे पहले अगर सरकार गिर जाए तो वो रिजाइन करते हैं. बट सम स्टेट हैव इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इट इन लोकल बॉडीज के अंदर रिकॉल यूज होता है, जैसे एमपी, छत्तीसगढ़, बिहार, महाराष्ट्र में. ठीक है. इन दिस स्टेट पीपल कैन रिकॉल पंचायत लीडर्स इवन इफ दे आर इनएफिशिएंट और करप्ट. गवर्नमेंट में नहीं यूज होता है, कहाँ लोकल गवर्नमेंट में यूज होता है. ठीक है. रिकॉल कौन कौन से स्टेट में ये लागू है पंचायती पंचायत राज के अंदर? एमपी, छत्तीसगढ़, बिहार, महाराष्ट्र, वहां पर पंचायती लीडर्स को आप रिकॉल कर सकते हैं. एंड द लास्ट वन इज द प्लेबिसाइट. दिस इज द फोर्थ टूल ऑफ the direct democracy, that is plebiscite, and we must have heard this term repeatedly number of time in the context of Jammu and Kashmir. Plebiscite means a direct voting by the people to determine a territorial or a political question, especially related to the boundaries or sovereignty. Plebiscite was conducted whether you want to remain in this place or that place, whether this should belong to this country or that country. For that matter, we use the plebiscite. Used mostly for deciding issues of territorial disputes or national integrity. Example, Jammu Kashmir issue once involved discussion of a plebiscite. तो plebiscite के लिए कुछ condition रखी थी यूनाइटेड नेशंस ने, लेकिन अभी तक वो condition ही fulfill नहीं हुई, तो plebiscite ही नहीं हुआ दोबारा. So, in the term democracy, we have understood there are two type of democracy: direct and indirect. In India, we are following the indirect democracy, but there is also a direct democracy being followed in country like Switzerland. And there are four tools to the direct democracy: referendum, initiate, recall, and plebiscite. And we have understood the different tools of it. So, in Indian context, if we talk about the democracy, that means we are talking about what? Indirect democracy. So, sovereign we have understood, socialist we have understood, secular we have understood, democratic we have understood. What is the republic? Republic means the head of the state is the republic means the head of the state is elected and not selected. Head of the state is elected and not selected. Where it is selected, that is called as the monarchy. And we have the United Kingdom, UK. That is, the head is always the from a particular the position of the head is always the queen. First it was queen, then his descendant, and that is the hereditary position of the head of the state. But in India, it is not hereditary; it is elected by the people indirectly. So the political sovereignty here, in the case of republic, the political sovereignty, write down political sovereignty, is where in the people. ठीक है. In India, the head of the state, real head of the state, and nominal head of the state. Nominal head of the state, we have seen the president is the nominal head of the state, elected by the members of the parliament. And the nominal head of the state, elected, that is the the real head of the state, that is the prime minister, is elected by the people directly. So it is not the selected one, but the elected one. So there is a political sovereignty in the people, and the no privilege to any class is given. What is called the republic? There is no privilege is given to any class, and hence public offices belong to everyone. And hence you can write, and hence public offices means there is equal opportunity. Public offices belong to everyone. So this is what republic is. So I've understood the term sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic. Now let us move to the objective. Number one is secure to all its citizen justice. What type of justice you are talking about? Social, economic, and political. Social justice. Social justice means justice in the society. Society is identified on the basis of what? Society is identified on the basis of your caste, your religion, your sex, your place of origin. This is what matters in the society. So if you're talking about the social justice, if you're talking about the justice that is the social justice, we means that there should not be any discrimination on this ground. There should not be a discrimination on the caste, on the class, on the religion, place of origin, on sex, on the ground of sex, that is between male and female. There should not be any discrimination. That is what social justice means. Economic justice means, in economic justice, what we are talking about that whether I am poor, whether I am poor or rich, that is rich and poor shall be treated equally before the law, before the state. And what does this term state means? It has a very wide means representation. Everything means state and anything can mean state. So for now, just understand the government or the state means the institution, government institution. So for in front of them, whether you are rich or poor, economical justice will be served. Nobody will be discriminated. Also, the divide between the rich and the poor, the gap between them will be decreased. Okay, will be narrowed. The gap between the rich and the poor will be narrowed. That is the two major objectives of the economic justice. Then we have the political justice. Political justice means the political positions, that is the position of the MPs, MLAs, will be open to all. Everybody who meets a particular criteria, there should not be any discrimination, will be can have equal representation in the politics. You can also elect, you can also select, you can also become the member of parliament, you can also contest election. You will not be discriminated, and that what is called as the political justice. Liberty means you are free to do. Liberty means, see, what does liberty mean? Liberty means you are free from any pressure, free from uh, what we say as strain, free from strain. There is no pressure on you, there is no restriction, free from any restriction. Liberty means free from any restriction, free from any restriction. Write down. Liberty means free from any restriction. So if we say that you have the liberty of, you are free, freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. You are free to have any faith. You have to free to believe in anything. You are free to worship anything. You have liberty to thought anything. You have a liberty of expression. So that means you are free. So liberty gives you freedom. So if I say that you are free to do anything, that means that are you free to do anything in real sense? No, unless and until you comes in contradiction with the law. So on the one hand, we have liberty that gives you the freedom. On the other hand, we have the law that restrict you. You cannot steal from anyone. So how do you make a balance between the liberty and the laws? That means if tomorrow, let's say, suppose there are no laws. That is, if stealing is not crime, there because there is no law made on it. So are you free or are you not free? Think about it. You would say that, yes, I am free to steal anything. But think from the point of the general people, they will feel restricted. They cannot go anywhere because they always feel insecure. So they are not safe. They always feel restricted because there are no laws. If they go somewhere, there could be a robbery in their home. If they're walking on the street, somebody can snatch your wallet. Somebody can snatch your mobile phone. Today, at least, if such cases are happening, there are some fear that there are law, you will be punished. But suppose that there are no law on it, so are you free or are you restricted? So you will understand that if there are no laws on stealing, you feel restricted because you are fearing to go out in night because you fear someone would come and rob you. You are you are in fear of leaving your home alone because somebody can come and rob you, someone come steal you. So if there are no laws, it brings restrictions on you. The real liberty is enjoyed only if there are laws. So laws are not restrictions on your liberty. They gives you a freedom on liberty. That is, the law is means giving a supporting hand to the liberty. It is not a restriction on the liberty. I hope you understand the point. So liberty, justice, we have understood. Liberty of thought expression, belief, faith, and worship. What do you mean by the equality? Equality means equality means equal opportunity and equal status. So equality of status and opportunity, nothing much to explain in this. And to promote them among them all, fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and unity and integrity of the nation. This thing we have already covered. Fraternity means brotherhood. And in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt an act and give to ourselves this Constitution. So we have understood the preamble. Only the small thing that is needed to be explained over here is the difference between justice as well as the equality. What do you mean by justice and what do you mean by equality? Justice, we have understood that should not be any discrimination. You know, there should social justice means socially you should not be discriminated. Economic justice means economically you should not be discriminated. Political justice means politically you should not be discriminated. You have equal right to go. So you have equal right to contest the election, whether you are rich, poor, or whatever background you have. So we have understood all this thing, but if we say that equality means also everybody is treated equally, what is the difference between justice and equality? And that could be understood by a very good example. Let's suppose there are 10 people. There are 10 people who are going to watch this stadium, and this is a stadium. This is the stadium boundary. This is the height of the stadium boundary, and there are suppose 10 people, and all these are the chairs. So suppose if all the chairs are made at the same height, said this is the ground. Now if there are four people and these are their heights, these are the heights of the people. For example, say, so among these people, who will be able to watch the match properly? Obviously, for him, the match is visible, the ground is visible. For him, also, ground is visible. He is also clearly able to see it. But these three people are not able to see the ground. So, this is equality. Equality means the height of the chair is set at equal level. There is no discrimination. Anybody of any background or any height will offer the same status, means same opportunity. Okay, so this is what equality means. Everybody is given the same opportunity to watch the match. Okay, but what is justice? Is justice served? No. He has also paid the same amount for the ticket. He has also paid the same amount of the ticket, but he is able to enjoy, he is not able to enjoy, but justice is not served. Although we are ensuring equality, that is, the position of the seat is at the same height. We are not giving an added advantage of privilege to anyone else, but justice is not served. So the management of the stadium would give tool to these people. So suppose he provided a stool to him, also stool to him, and also a stool to him. Say a table is given. Table is given. So by giving them the tool, the management of the stadium is ensuring that the people also enjoys the same view of the match. So when the tool is given to them, they also becomes at the same level. This now reaches to this height, this also reaches to this height, and this member also reaches to this height. But they are given the tool. So the question is, whether equality was ensured? No, equality was not ensured because these three people were treated specially and they were given the additional seat, a raised seat, so that they can watch. But at this, if you see from at this angle, you will say that yes, everybody is equal. So, sometime in order to just ensure justice is served, equality has to be broken. Understood? So equality has to be breached in a positive way to ensure that justice is served. And this is the very core concept that is used for the reservation. So sometimes we say that the constitution, we say that all are equal. Then why there is a reservation for some people? Why there is a reservation for quotas? And we are saying that different things of respect to the different categories of the citizen of the India. There should be equality. So in order to serve justice, you need to sometime breach equality in a positive way. So, what we call as quality is what we can understood as the same treatment is given for all. Like here, the height of the seat was same for all. But justice does not mean the same treatment. It means the right treatment for all. And this is what the right treatment was given to all, so that they can also watch the match. I hope you understand the difference between the justice and equality. So justice may sometimes requires different treatment to address disadvantages. So the preamble, we have completed the preamble. We have seen the amendment was proposed and the different terms that was amended in the preamble, and the core concept that is mentioned in the preamble we have completed with it. So in the next video, we are going to take up some questions and we will discuss two very important landmark judgment, and then we will discuss some important question in it. So till then, have a good day and thank you for being with me and watching this video.